everybody, and welcome to video number 21. I'm almost there. I started with this High Hopes Christmas Pals image and I stamped it onto craft cardstock with my Memento Tuxedo Black ink. And I'd done a card like this with a different image, the Christmas Cats image, and I didn't do a video I'd post on my blog, but again, I had stamped it onto craft cardstock and colored with Copics. And I loved how that looked, so I thought I would do it again in a video. So I started off with the skin, and I just used E21, E13, and then R20. I find with craft, I don't like to do a lot of blending with it because it's usually a little bit thinner of a cardstock, and two, colors look different on it. It's more just an experiment, really. Like, the look is really different, it's kind of unique, and yeah, this is only like the fourth or fifth time I've actually colored on craft cardstock with Copics. So I'm a total beginner at it too, but I just find it works to go a little simpler and to always remind yourself that colors are going to obviously look completely different than they do on white. So skin tones are a completely different thing. Obviously lighter colors aren't going to show up very well. And yeah, so did the skin the way I did it. And then for the red area, I just used my R27 and then added darker areas with the R29. And then for his gloves and boots, I just use C10. And then for the little green, I'm just using my G46 and added the little dots and colored in the little pine areas. And then for the wreath, I just kind of scribbled on the color. My OCD, I always want to completely fill in a spot. It really bugs me to leave it. But with this, I thought it looked kind of cute if I scribbled on and left little areas, so it gives it just that teensy bit of texture. And then for the little reindeer's body, I just used E55, and then I took my E57 to add some of the little darker areas, and purposely didn't blend that out, just left it as is. And then for his little antlers, I did the E57 again, and then went over the darker areas with my E59. So yeah, kept it really simple, and yet, I don't know, it kind of takes some of the pressure off when you color on craft, because it looks really cool. So you kind of can get away with not having to blend and worry about it as much, and yeah. So for the shading around the image, I just used my W3, and then I quickly took my R20 and filled in the insides of his ears. Then for the white areas, my original plan I was going to use, try using one of my white markers, like my white paint markers. Not obviously, there's no such thing as a white marker, but that would have been really finicky. You'd have to be really careful not to cover any of the lines. It would have taken forever. So instead, I just grabbed one of my white pencil crayons. This one just happens to be a Prismacolor, and filled it in. And at first I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to blend this out with my odorless mineral spirits to kind of smooth it out. But I love how it looks as is. It just, one, it makes the white kind of pop. Two, it gives it this little bit of texture. It's just perfect. Once I started coloring it on, I just completed this whole image, and I'm super happy with it. I just think it looks absolutely adorable. So colored in all the white areas. For the snow spot, I just colored in circles, and yeah, that finished it off. So then I grabbed my white paint pen. This is the Posca one, and I've got the bug in here with me, so yeah, all the little random noises are from her. But yeah, I grabbed that and used a scrap piece of cardstock just to test out to make sure I didn't glop it all over my image and ruin all the coloring I just did. And just added a few little highlights, which is another thing I love about coloring on craft, is when you add the highlights with something like this, it makes them just pop. So much fun. So did that, finished off the image, and then of course I had to add a little bit of shimmer. But this time I didn't want to add stickles or anything like that because I really loved how the texture was popping out with the white pencil crayon. So I just grabbed my Wink of Stella clear pen and started coloring on the glitter. And in this light, it's really hard to see. In fact, I could barely see it myself, but I knew it was going on there. And I love too that you can still see all the texture, everything, it's not masking any of that. So you'll see at the end of the video, I turned on the lights and that so you could see the glitter it gives, yet in certain lights you don't really see it, so it's subtle, and I love it. I love these Wink of Stella pens. They are just so much fun. And they're simple and quick. That's why I love them. So added a bunch of random glitter, and then I'm going to go on to finish the actual cards. So I'm using pattern paper from the My Mind's Eye Mistletoe Magic, the 12 by 12 papers I got several weeks ago. And I'm going to make a 5.5-inch square card because I wanted kind of a larger card, because this is a fairly large image. I had die cut it with the largest of the MFT pierced rectangle stacks dies. So went with a really simple layout and then just wrapped around some white wrinkle ribbon and figured out how I kind of wanted everything to go. And then for the sentiment, it's also a high hope sentiment. It's the Magic of Christmas stamp, and I just grabbed a scrap of craft cardstock and then my stamp and inked that up again with just the Memento Tuxedo Black and stamp that onto there. And then I'm going to use a smaller pierced rectangle die to die cut it. And force a habit, I use tape to keep in place, even though I just showed in a recent haul video. I've got the Sizzix magnetic mat now, so I don't need to tape everything in place anymore, but yeah, total habit. So, gonna get the main image adhered, and you can see when I'd stamped it the first time, I had messed it up. So I just flipped over the cardstock and stamped it again and got away with it. So waste not, want not. So did that. And then the sentiment, I didn't want it to cover the image at all because I was just so happy with how I'd colored it. So I decided to put it near the top of the card so that it didn't cover the image. So got that in place, and then tape over the back of the ribbon just so my HEG will glide smoothly. And I'm going to adhere that to my card, which is also craft cardstock. Keeping the card again simple, no extra embellishments in that this time. I really wanted the image to just stand out because I was so proud of the coloring. So got that all done. Then for the inside of the card, I die cut another large rectangle from craft cardstock. And then I grabbed the stamp again, and this is, their stamps come as bare rubber. You can mount them on easy mount, which I usually do, but I haven't had the time for that, so I actually have just been using a little bit of Tombow Mono Multi on them. Put it on really thin, let it dry, just not completely covering it, just a little bit. And then that way it sticks to my blocks, but it's not like sticky. I can peel it off and reposition them and reuse them over and over again. I personally don't care for that as a long-term solution just because they're sticky and it's annoying, but for the Christmas series and everything like that, it works perfectly. So I stamped it onto the craft cardstock with MFT's new natural ink, which I absolutely love. And somebody wants attention. So follow the same layout on the inside that I did on the outside. And then adhered my little craft square rectangle, so with the stamped image that's light enough so you can write over it with a pen, no problem. Then I'm going to adhere that to the inside of the card, and that's it for the card. And of course, since I was using 12 by 12 papers, I've got enough extra paper to make a matching envelope. So for a 5.5 inch square card, you need a 9-inch square piece of pattern paper. And I just used my envelope punch boards, scored all the lines, punched all the middle areas, and then of course rounded all of the edges. So once that was done, just going to adhere everything together with my Tombow Mono Multi again. And yeah, that's all there was to it. And then I'm going to go and turn the lights on, and you can see now with my lighting situation, I've got issues. But once I actually turn the lights on, my light gets really yellow, but you'll be able to see the sparkle, which is so fun. So as always, there will be a link below to my blog post with links to all the supplies used. Thank you guys so much for watching and liking and subscribing, and I will see you all next time. Bye!